coming up next is TLR versus PSISTORM Gaming, which should be very good. I would probably, I hate to disappoint, but I would like to lob up. I would expect to see 3 games out of this series and some
that's the dream, right?
That's the dream. And these, to me, these teams are close in the standings, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, TLR's number 8 right now, and I don't have all the standings.
PSISTORM is down at 50 points. And remember, there's only 2 cups left. So we talked about this a little bit in the beginning of the stream, but this is one of the teams I was thinking. At only 50 points, PSISTORM Gaming needs to break into the top 8. They need 130 plus right now, not counting the fact that the teams that are in the top 8 are getting more points tonight, and we'll get more next week. Realistically, it's unlikely that PSISTORM Gaming goes to the top 8 after they've come here all the way from Taiwan. At least some of them have. Obviously, they picked up a few NA players on their roster when they got here. If they don't finish first or second this week or next week, so this is a big deal. The semis alone is a little boost in points, but it's going to be very difficult for them to achieve their dream they moved to America to achieve if they don't get first or second this week or next week.
Yeah, it's tough, and they moved mid-season, unless I'm mistaken, right? They moved like on the third, or
I think they missed the first cup due to travel issues. They had trouble getting their visas in order. They were going to be here for the entire thing. That was the plan. And it took the org that sponsors them a little bit longer to get the visa squared away than they thought would be the case. And then they set up the gaming house. So I think they didn't end up participating until cup number 3.
Do you know, I know it's a little personal, and I know a little bit about these guys, but I don't know them personally, nor have I really spoken to them. Do you know if these guys are here to stay, or is this sort of a one-shot for them? It sounds like it's more of a measured approach, but esports is a volatile business.
So these guys, 3 of them at least, were on this, and that's the BlizzCon team that we saw last year at BlizzCon. Mm-hmm. They took some games off some NA teams. People might have been a little bit upset about that. And PSISTORM Gaming is an org that is sponsored by essentially a independent entrepreneur, and he's trying to bring the Taiwanese region into esports in a bigger way, is my understanding goals. So I think for him, sponsoring them, this is a long-term goal. You don't set up a gaming house where people are living together.
That's what I'm saying, right?
As often as they want to. Obviously their hope is they get in, first try. But I think if they don't make it next year, we will still see them here, probably with a different roster. Maybe they'll bring over some more of their old teammates from Taiwan when it becomes assured that it's a real thing, or maybe we'll pick up some different NA players. But I think that they're here for at least 6 months, if not a full year of trying this. So this is not the last Open we're going to see them in if they don't make it.
Well, that's exciting because I feel like there's a lot of talent in the NA Open Division. If they could manage to match with some talent and boost their roster, I'd love to see something like that. And I just love to see people continually try. I hate the idea of one and you're out. And I'm really looking forward to seeing if these guys don't succeed in getting in the top 8 here, which is a pretty difficult notion considering you missed a cup. King's Gambit aside, where they missed a couple cups, they sort of came out guns blazing. But exciting notion to know that we've got people that are brought here looking to get into the Pro Division, because that could stir the pot in NA HGC a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's it's always exciting. And some people, I remember reading on Reddit, but like a little upset that they were coming over here when they, there is sort of a minor region thing. But in my mind, the more competition, the better the scene becomes, the stronger the scene becomes overall. Every time we've seen an HGC team go to an international event, they've gotten stronger from playing against better teams. They bring that back. Our region gets a little stronger as a result. So having all of that international experience come in from multiple international events that they've gone to because they were a minor region, and then it's come in. Our NA teams get to scrim against them consistently. We get to have them playing on our ladder. I think it's really cool, and it's just going to make the region better. You know, a rising tide floats all boats.
Yeah, I feel two of my favorite player stories in the HGC right now are Jay Shrite and Arcaner in the EU scene. Arcaner they both came from minor regions. Jay Shrite, I think, is from Brazil. Arcaner is originally from Australia, possibly New Zealand. I'm not sure. But they both moved to major regions, got picked up by major teams, and are now playing in, you know, some are playing in offline tournaments and stuff. So I love to see the drive coming out of, you know, particularly talented individuals. So I believe we have TLR on the left and PSISTORM on the right, which would very much explain this Stitches ban coming out.
Quick correction, and shout out to Kenny, who is one of my lovely fact checkers over at the Nexus Schoolhouse, which is my Discord. He has a lot of relationships with people in Korea and other Asian regions. Keeps me up to date. They're Philippines, not Taiwanese.
Okay.
I knew I was getting the island wrong. It's like, so take every time I said Taiwan, just put in Philippines, and everything I said is still true.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't change what they came here to do and what they're going to be focusing on. As far as I'm concerned, especially when we're casting, it's one of the best things about casting, is we're visible. People know who we are, but the players aren't visible. You just see their play, and their gameplay speaks for themselves. Also, something I was saying is a scary notion about being a player versus being a caster or some other supporting member of esports is, as a player, you are defined by your execution day in, day out. You have a couple bad days, one bad week. Suddenly you're not really the flavor of the month. But we see a lot of meta stuff coming out, short of the Stitches, which is a target ban. Urel, first pick into a Deckard Phoenix. These are all very standard and powerful.
Oof, that is a mouth Rainer. We actually haven't seen any Rainer tonight, either picked or banned. First pick at Eastern Clash, pretty much all weekend. We saw some games without Rainer, and it was sort of team dependent. Ballistics in particular liked him quite a bit, but the fact that we haven't seen him at all actually surprises me a little bit. There's been a much higher priority on that Phoenix than any other ranged assassin.
Yeah, he just performs well right now. He's got he performs well into a lot of the meta heroes. Phoenix, Tracer, Hammer, I think he does pretty decently into. What I like about TLR's draft is Deckard Phoenix sort of gives up nothing on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And we have a Greymane and a Sergeant Hammer ban coming out, not Phoenix. And again, standard sort of meta. The Greymane ban might be a little more targeted, burst prevention on the side of TLR, but what they would be protecting, I'm not so certain.
It's also really good synergy with the Urel armor build, because when Greymane dives in with that 10 armor from being an Organ, and then he gets 35 additional armor from Urel eating onto him. 45 armor Greymane in your face, clawing at it, is difficult to deal with, to put it mildly, and not something you want to have on your Phoenix's face or your Deckard's face, as a rule of thumb.
Good to note. I think Johanna's unavailable. Garrosh is up. It is Tomb of the Spider Queen. Is not the best pickup for tank, and a Nubarak Zeratul, so going the aggro route, I would say.
That's a Ballistics draft. Like if Ballistics was playing Eastern Clash right now, you'd be like, yeah, that's a Ballistics. It's very interesting, the teams that the metas that different teams decide to play, because you know, sometimes you have an A team be like, oh, we want to copy our favorite players from the A scene. And then we have Philippines players sort of copying a Korean meta style of draft, and I'll be curious to see how they deal with it. When you have an Anubrak, you have to play very aggressively. Anubrak does not succeed well unless you're using his tools, and his tools are all about going in on someone, killing that person. So
I feel like what I noticed at the Western Clash, and I did catch some Eastern Clash games, is one of Rainer's strengths is if you have dive heroes sort of occupying the attention of the other team, Rainer just pot shots all day. And I mean, that's what he's known for, right? Just being able to dish out an insane amount of damage. Between Anub and Zeratul are vulnerable and divey, but the Yrel is so tanky. So you just use the Yrel to knock, Blaze, Thrall in. The Rainer is going to be able to dish out an insane amount of DPS. So really looking forward to see what he can get done there.
And that's what the Rainer work was. They made him a stat stick. He just does an enormous amount of damage. He's also the same in a lot of ways. Excuse me, he just does so much more damage.
All right, we are going to get into game 1 of the 3rd round already here tonight. On the left side, we have TLR, Jeb Taco Betos, the best name in esports, playing Phoenix, Suryu coming in on Deckard, plus Ultra on the Blaze, Free PX playing Thrall, and Fats on Johanna.
And on the right, we do have PSISTORM Gaming, the team that desperately wants to make it after they came all the way from the Philippines here. NSJ on Rainer, Hisoka on Riel, Stronger on Anub'arak, and Avir on Zeratul, and Elheim on Malfurion.
I don't expect to see too much early engage here, although TLR would probably be at an advantage with the Deckard combo with the jet propulsion follow-up. I feel like they probably have the stronger early game.
You can see Stronger is just anchoring this top, getting ready, knowing that initial quick wave clear. He's hoping they can get the dismount on the Johanna. He's focusing the wave clear hero. That's the important thing. He's like, you're mounted, I'm going to dismount you. And they know they don't have the early game wave clear to compete, so they're not going to try to do a 4-man rotation. You can see they're being a little bit split in the way they do it. And they're bringing their DPS around to pressure where they can. They're focusing the Johanna, they're pressuring Phoenix. Free PX actually going to come up from pressuring bottom. That was a 2v1 on Yrel. Briefly, huge root coming out from Deckard. And Elheim may actually end up going down here.
An incredibly aggressive burrow charge coming out of Stronger. Hitskua coming in off the back line, trying to disrupt 3PX a little bit, but TLR unaffected. Stronger is being appropriately aggressive, I have to say. He was positioned on the opposite side of the turn and at the beginning of the last rotation, just being really... I feel like that's a big part of playing the aggressive game is psychological. As long as you can make aggressive plays and not essentially feed by accident, you can put a little bit of fear into your opponent, just a little bit of uncertainty to make them hesitate on their rotations, hesitate and check bushes. Can create advantages or, even it out if you're a little bit behind.
And again, that's just one of those things we see from all the time, especially EU and Korea. That's just how they like to play the game. So it's important to know he has that international experience. And we're going to see a big 3-man burrow charge here. Is not currently a W available. He is a little bit fragile, and Enniver is in a lot of trouble, but does have his blink out. The cleave value right there. Deckard with the root, going to get a little bit of value there. Thrall, 12 stacks, 13 stacks, and we're going to see Yrel was clearing the lane. Look at Hisoka. He knows he already has the lane, so he tries to interfere with the rotation from plus Ultra. Actually does make him miss some minions that die. And this is their game. They know they're not winning the wave clear race on Tomb. They're just trying to interfere, they're trying to deny, they're trying to be as aggressive as possible without dying. Elheim's death did set them back a little bit. This rotation onto plus Ultra, maybe they can get the kill onto Blaze, but even if they don't, the fact that Blaze is low and is going to threaten for the rest of the game, they're trying to put the pressure onto TLR and hope that they make a mistake.
That was crazy. That was crazy close. Enabir almost falling. Anub'arak barely managing to get the killing blow onto Jeb Taco Betos. Just a slight experience advantage now going over to PSISTORM. I mean, Stronger is giving a convincing argument for Anub'arak right now. I'm really loving watching this play. I love to play Anub myself, and just the peel from the burrow charges is completely on point. Saving people's lives left and right, and also disrupting and setting up kills himself. Kiska just trying to stop the turn in there on the bottom lane. Stronger going to evac out. A very back and forth, very closely matched between these two teams. Very tense.
Look at the, again, Hisoka sitting in the bush waiting for someone to come. The dismount here, and he will deny the assistance from getting there for at least a little while. So this is a full 4-man rotation at this point. deal with these camps bottom, and now Stronger warding in this push, waiting to see if someone overextends, they go too far forward, and they're just playing the vision game so well. They're not missing any waves, they're not missing their soak. You know, they gave up that 1 kill from Elheim being a little bit out of position, and only a little bit out of position in the early game. And I think, you know, you got to remember Mouth was just recently reworked. You're used to that movement speed at 1 that you would normally have, not having that anymore can sort of mess with muscle memory, mess with your decision making. And they're, despite having worse wave clear, they're a little bit ahead in experience. They're a little bit ahead in gems turned in. They're a little bit ahead in total gem, and they're now ahead in kills.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at Anubarak's build here too, and I would say it's unusual, but it really just feels like adjusted for this draft. The Regen Master to beef up the Anub's HP and Bed of Barbs to offer a little bit of extra wave clear and slow over the objectives. I really like both of these picks. These are sort of old picks Anubarak used to take a lot, and it really is working out for them here. First Web Weaver descending for PSISTORM Gaming, and they're going to try to take some structures here. Bottom wall already completely opened up. Plus Ultra a little bit out of position. Jet Propulsion coming out with the body blocks are huge out of his go and Stronger, but Plus Ultra managing to slither out. 3PX doing a lot of damage, and nothing's going to come of that.
It's really unusual to see that happen. They got the... They denied him his escape with the Jet Propulsion, and they still didn't get it. Seru, however, is going to get going on with Deckard Cain, will end up going down. Again, beautiful CC change. 3PX is the next to fall. Absolutely going to go down here. And I don't know if they can get Plus Ultra as well, the Jet Propulsion now. Burrow Charge is available, but he does miss it. Didn't think he would juke into the bush, unfortunately. And as a result, he also misses the follow-up. Q, the Impale, not going to go down, but they will, off of all this aggression, manage to secure bottom fort off this turn, which is a significant experience advantage.
Yeah, it's going to push them a lot closer to level 10. NSJ just easily able to DPS that down. And scary part about this play coming out of PSISTORM is you see the Anub a lot and you see the Zeratul a lot, but you're just not seeing what the Raider's doing because he is just doing so much plink work on the backline. Stronger trying to face check that push, not working out, but also not being punished for it whatsoever. Blue Web Weaver is going to come in, but PSISTORM is going to have a level 10 advantage momentarily. Will TLR be able to equalize here is the real question.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if PSISTORM Gaming, they looked like they were trying to deny the turn. Beautiful kill by Enenbar with the Vorpal Blade coming in, and we're going to see the VP coming down on top of I think that wasn't intentional. They were trying to find some for the VP on the turn, and we're going to see 3PX end up going down here as well. There's no way he lives. I almost wonder, yes, they wanted to delay the turn-in, but did they want to delay it forever? I think they actually wanted to let the turn-in happen while they had the 10 advantage. It pushes more experience to them, more gems to them in particular, and it's essentially a wasted turn-in to turn in 9 to 10.
I completely agree. It is one of those frustrating things where you're just trying to get the turn in because you can. Now the dive coming on to Suryu and the follow-up is there. Raynor always there to follow up for Stronger, and I feel like that, again, it's easy to not notice because Raynor just sits in the backline shooting away, but now still no level 10 achieved for TLR, and their Web Weavers are gonna actually do a decent amount of damage to that bot fort. Is this bot fort gonna fall? It is. So, silver linings, I suppose. That puts them within a level just about. They are now on even talent tiers, taking Sundering Bunker and Blessed Shield, so nothing too unusual.
Yeah. I want to point out just that Bed of Barbs has been triggering Ace in the hole for Raynor, so effectively on all these picks, he's guaranteed that bonus damage. So every single time that's come down, they've had that slow from Bed of Barbs, they've had the slow from Urelzi. They're very conscious of these CC chains and how they want to use them precisely. Oh, 3PX showed himself. Sunder gets dodged by the Burrow Charge, and 3PX may end up going down. The bunker does come in to save him for now, but that cooldown is very important against this dive. Blessed Shield flank from Fats. They're going to get the Jet Propulsion come in here as well. Big stay a while into the salvo. VP tries to deny the salvo damage, does get some of it, and Fats may end up going down as the VP drops. He does. Elheim with Tranquility saves everyone on his team.
Elheim and Endivir just barely surviving. Endivir 23 HP, walks away, manages to get into stealth. Phoenix falls. What a wild engagement from PSISTORM. Just barely surviving, pushing the limits of their heroes. Elheim has 200 HP, not even healing himself, healing his teammates. They are going to try to get the turn in here and force down a level 13 advantage. That was wild. Plus Ultra too far forward. I believe he's going to be caught stronger with the body blocks. The Impale coming out and now into the root. Jet Propulsion almost working, but not quite enough. That is a staggered death. Cocoon coming out on the Thrall. We have the scroll trying to deter PSISTORM, but the follow-up is going to be here. 3PX is going to be falling. He's going to look for the kill on Elheim, not get it. Another burrow charge. Needlessly aggressive by Stronger. Needlessly, but I need it every day of my life. This aggression is beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it. Oof. I can't look away.
There's two things I want to point out there that just make me so happy. There were multiple people low on PSISTORM Gaming during that fight, but there was only ever one person low on TLR, and that person died. And then there was another person low, and that person was dead. There was another person low, and that person was dead. This focus fire coming out of PSISTORM Gaming, where they're picking off one target at a time with such discipline, everyone's on the same target, is so important. And on cooldown, Malfurion has been innovating Stronger. Anub'arak is a very cooldown limited tank. Burrow Charge, 14-second cooldown, Impale, a 12-second cooldown. Normally, you're very cooldown limited. You actually can't be this aggressive, but he's never out of mana, and his cooldowns are always ticking down faster because of that CDR. Every engage they've had, the Burrow Charges have come out faster than the enemy team would have normally thought.
It's really impressive. The coordination is really impressive. And you would say, all right, well, you're going to play aggressive style. That's going to be your style. I'd expect you to always be there. But one of the hardest parts about these aggressive initiations is the tank seeing the aggressive initiation and all your follow-up being there. Rainer's almost always been there to follow up Stronger immediately. That being said, rotations are coming in now from the bottom lane. Rainer and Yrel are moving up to try to actually invade that camp. And PSISTORM is a bit split, but Jeb Takobito is actually caught in the rotation. Scan coming out, Endivir gonna fall to that Phoenix ult, and Stronger gonna be okay. But Phoenix falling on the back, and to Rainer coming in on the flank. Huge Jet Propulsion, Stronger taking a lot of damage, and the Ardent Defender coming out from Yrel. Tranquility not quite enough to keep Anub'arak up, and just putting one right between the old man's eyes, I guess, there was Rainer.
There are people that are like, oh, people have died, the fight's over, and Hisoka falls into the latter camp, does manage to get the slow, and NSJ finishes him off with that Rainier style of damage. Make that a 3-for-2 trade instead of a 2-for-2 trade. And with that advantage and with that talent tier advantage, I expect them to go immediately start boss. Yes, they're doing it. They don't have turn-in. The enemy team does have turn-in, and we see TLR looking at the bottom. They know there's a chance that they're on boss, they're on cruisers, doing something like that. They don't see them on the mini-map. They don't see them in the mini-waves. So they're trading boss for turn-in. But that means that they're, again, in a situation just like where they were 9-10, where their turn-in is going to happen, but it's going to be negated because they have to defend boss.
And specifically, their top lane is going to be what's negated, which is the lane you generally want to create an advantage in to end the game through. Well, another aggressive initiation coming in from Stronger. The Iron Skin popped by Johanna. She also misses her ult down onto Elheim. Now Endivir moving in, getting a lot of damage out onto Johanna without cooldown. Jeb Takobito tries to use his heroic ability as well to dish out some damage. Void Prison coming in from Endivir, but will Rel be survivable enough here? Heal coming out, and the follow-up onto 3PX. Plus Ultra is body blocked, is not going to be able to get out of this situation. And also we got Phoenix into Cocoon right there, and the follow-up is going to be available. The lockdown from this team is top-notch. PSISTORM Gaming, you know, you guys, I'm impressed. This is the first game I've ever casted with these guys, and it reminds me of the Asian meta, these hyper-aggressive Chinese/Korean meta, and I love it. I love seeing a little infusion of that in the NA scene.
I think the word we're looking for here is bloodbath, and it's so different from the EU style, which a lot of NA teams adopted, where they macro, they make sure they get soaked, but they try to minimize their mistakes as opposed to trying to punish every single mistake. that the other team makes, and they're just going in. They're like, you're a little bit out of position. You're in a position, not even out of position. You're on your side of the map, but we have better vision control. We're in this bush, and this bush, and this bush. You walked by it. We can go on you as 5, so we're going to it. Now you're dead. Oh, you're trying to wombo combo us. We're going to VP to deny the wombo. We're going to cocoon to deny your heroic. We're going to stagger the fight and control it. Make the fight go at our pace instead of yours. And 17 kills to 3. They're a little bit ahead in minion soak experience, but they are 7,000 experience ahead in hero kills. It's extremely unusual out in these high-level games outside of the Korean meta.
Yeah, it really feels like the extreme CC capabilities of Anubarak is what's enabling this team. The extreme CC capabilities plus the execution from Stronger is what is enabling this team to he just controls the nature of every engagement, just like you were saying. He puts every engagement on his terms, initiates or peels accordingly, and it feels like you can't do much if you're TLR. The wall's about to go down, the Web Weaver's pushing up. There is a Web Weaver in the top lane. It's probably going to be able to do some damage as it is pushed up down the lane. The bottom lane probably won't be able to do as much, so it won't be the focus. Level 16 is about to come in for TLR, and 20 is right around the corner for PSISTORM. Big Root coming out onto the front line, and the Void Prison on the back. The huge follow-up coming out of Zeratul. Deckard and Johanna falling almost instantly. The bunker not coming out in time. Cocoon on the back line to Phoenix. Phoenix manages to warp through the wall, use that wall to his advantage a little bit, but here comes Yrel finishing him off. And actually, Rainer got the last shot there, but looking to take this mid, keep, and top and bottom. Web Weaver's pushing in as well. I think this is a good night, sweet prince situation.
Yeah, if you ever wondered what a 4 level like, it looks like you chunked the into health and plus your Q button. That's basically what it looks like. Beautiful, clean game overall, and Stronger had. I think Stronger had one questionable engage that entire game. And, that wasn't a long game necessarily, 16 minutes. But to have a tank who every time he goes in, it was a good decision and your team came out on top as a result of it, that means everyone else can be confident in yes, if he's going in, it's clearly the right decision. We're just going to follow up. We're going to do our jobs. There's no hesitation. There's no doubt when you have a tank that strong. And it makes your team stronger. Had to go there. It was beautiful play from them.
Saying that about a tank is remarkable. Saying that about a tank on Anubarak seems like a dream to me. I just wake up from a beautiful dream where the Anubarak properly peeled. It felt like he always had cooldowns, and I think a lot of that was attributed to what you pointed out is the Malfurion using Innervate on cooldown, because it reduces your cooldowns, it gives you the mana. It felt like he always had peel, he always had the initiation, like his cooldowns were perfectly up, and obviously it is a large skill factor, but also practice, just beautifully done by PSISTORM. Really excited to see what they have for game 2, and we are going to be moving on to Infernal Shrines.